Hello everyone, Lytro Storm here, and once again we are back with What If Bardock Was Sent to the Future. If you haven't already seen the previous videos on this topic, they will be linked in the description and comment section, but as a short recap of the last part, basically our Z Fighters fought Vegeta and Nappa as well as the androids. This led to them going into the time chamber to train, and eventually fighting against Cell. Goku was killed by Android 16, and Gohan had a massive outburst, unlocking Super Saiyan. After the time chamber training, Bardock went Super Saiyan 2 with the death of Raditz, and defeated Cell. Now if you want more details, please be sure to check out the previous parts. But anyway, if you guys do end up enjoying this video and want to see more content from me, be sure to like the video as well as subscribe. Less than half of my viewers are subscribed, so it would really be appreciated if you could help to increase that number. As always, be sure to join my Discord and follow me on Twitter. Links in the description. So during the 7 years of peace, Vegeta and Nappa would be doing their training. However, Vegeta would entirely neglect Trunks in this timeline. Remember that he has regressed in this series far worse than in canon, so he purely just wants more power. On the opposite end, the Sun family, minus Raditz, who chose to continue his break and stay in the afterlife, would be living their life like usual. Goten would be born like in canon, and would be trained by both his father and grandfather. This would lead to him getting far stronger than in canon, and unlocking Super Saiyan 2. Speaking of that form, the only people who haven't unlocked it by this point are Gohan and Trunks. Gohan wouldn't have it because he never fought Cell, and isn't training. And Trunks wouldn't have it because Vegeta didn't train him, and so he actually trains with Goten and his family when he can. Eventually, the tournament would come around, and everyone would enter, with Raditz returning from Otherworld for one day via Baba. Everyone reunites and the Junior Division tournament would begin. This would see the same results as in canon, but with Goten beating Trunks at the end. Trunks would go Super Saiyan, breaking the rules that they had previously established, and Goten would retaliate the same, knocking him out of the ring in one punch. The two would also not become Mighty Mask, as Goten would be much more disciplined, though it's still likely Trunks would try on his own. He would then be promptly busted, though, and Mighty Mask would stay in the roster. I've always felt bad for that guy. I mean, they kind of just jumped him and then stole his whole mantra, so I'm glad that he actually gets to enter the tournament this time. Even though it won't make a difference because all the stuff with Yamu and Spopovich still happens, and all the Z Fighters as well as Vegeta and Nappa go off. They follow Babidi's man along with Supreme Kai and Kibito, and eventually arrive at Babidi's base. Dabura then kills Kibito, and turns both Krillin and Piccolo to stone. Our Z Fighters would now enter the fray and have to fight in one-on-one matches. Vegeta would take the first, Bardock the second, and Goku the third. Of course, all these fights lead to the death of their opponents. Pui Pui, Yakon, and Dabura are all easily disposed of, leading to Krillin and Piccolo returning to normal. Babidi then looked at Vegeta and Nappa, realizing that they have a ton of evil and hatred within them, although Nappa less so. He uses his magic to turn both of them into Majins, and teleports everyone away to the tournament. Goku and the others will convince Babidi that they will fight so long as it's away from other people, and so they are teleported into a wasteland. Gohan, Supreme Kai, Piccolo, and Krillin would all be heading toward Babidi, knowing that they can't really do anything in this fight. Speaking of which, it would now begin. Vegeta and Nappa versus Bardock, Raditz, and Goku, all in Super Saiyan 2. By this point, Vegeta and Nappa are far stronger. They've both been training in the gravity chamber for 7 years, while Goku and Bardock just did basic training. And while Raditz did train himself in the Otherworld, he didn't push himself further to learn anything new like Super Saiyan 3. Although he did somewhat pick up fusion. Once he reached Super Saiyan 2, he just mainly focused on his regular training. So if they're all roughly around Goku's level in the Buu Saga to varying degrees, and Vegeta and Nappa are much stronger and have the Majin boost, yeah, it's not looking good for our heroes. Both Bardock and Raditz would take on Vegeta, with Goku battling it out against Nappa. However, all three would be losing, but Goku had something to tip the odds in his favor. He told Nappa of the times they worked together. They trained in the gravity ship Dynamic. Nappa blasted Frieza with his last bit of energy to save them. He clearly wasn't as far gone as Vegeta was. Nappa would be angry about this and would assault Goku even more, absolutely decimating him. The Saiyan tells the Brute that Vegeta simply used him as a sparring partner, asking if he ever really did anything for him. Nappa would be fuming, throwing punches everywhere and even missing sometimes despite being far faster than Goku. He was absolutely enraged, he could barely control himself. Goku then brings up how Nappa didn't help them fight the androids, and that 16 had killed him because of it. Nappa clearly had guilt for this, but didn't want to show it. He screamed at Goku to shut up, and as he was about to end him, Goku tells him that he forgives him. Nappa hesitates and grabs at his face, screaming in agony. He finally stops and looks at Goku, before telling him to get up. The Saiyan had needed that forgiveness and the realization that he was nothing more than a pawn to Vegeta. Speaking of which, he is currently besting both Bardock and Raditz at the same time, although together, they can give him a run for his money. The prince sees Nappa and tells him that he's got this covered and that he should just go back to fighting Kakarot, but he is then punched in the face by the Saiyan. Nappa yells that this whole time he's just been using him to get stronger, and that Vegeta was now worse than when they first came to Earth. Vegeta turns his head and begins wiping his cheek from the attack, but it was actually a ploy. He moved his hand from his cheek in an instant and blasted Nappa straight through the chest. The brute falls to the ground, slowly running out of life. Goku then volunteers to take him to Korin's to get him a Senzu Bean, and Vegeta continues his fight. Of course, with all these really strong guys fighting, Buu is summoned way faster than in canon, and this leads to him bodying Gohan, Supreme Kai, Piccolo, and Krillin. He then heads after the big battle. Of course, both Bardock and Raditz are still losing, they didn't really gain any advantage, but Goku then returns with Nappa and a few Senzu Beans. He gives them to his family just as Majin Buu shows up. Now, because Majin Buu shows up, everyone has to stop. He wants a fight, and he's not going to stop until he gets one. Vegeta then tries to take him on by himself, to which he actually does better than in canon, but unfortunately, Buu's regeneration and stamina are too much. And because Vegeta has no reason to sacrifice himself like in canon, he basically has no way of killing Buu. Buu, however, does have a way to kill Vegeta, and so he beats him down and tries to do so. However, that's when the other four Saiyans jump in to fight, with Raditz actually being the one to convince Buu not to kill them all. He says that they'll bring Buu someone much stronger than any of them to fight him if he just waits 2 days. Of course, Babidi protests, but Buu just kills him like in canon. The Saiyans then leave, with Goku picking up the unconscious Vegeta as well. They all head to the lookout as well as gathering all of their friends. The group tries following Raditz's lead since he's the one who seemed like he had a plan, and Raditz reveals that he actually did. He tells them of the fusion dance that he learned from the Metamorans. Goku says that that would be perfect, but that's when Raditz speaks of the one problem. He didn't really master it. Cutting back to Babidi's lair, Kibito, having been revived with the Dragon Balls, heals the Supreme Kai. Shin then heals Gohan, Krillin, and Piccolo, and tells them of the Z-Sword. Krillin would choose to go find his family rather than going with them, but Piccolo would go with Gohan to the Supreme Kai's planet, where the two would train with the Z-Sword. This should actually help even the odds, since both Piccolo and Gohan are weaker here, so another partner would boost them more. And that is where we're going to end this part. Now that all our Z-Fighters have their different plans on how to handle Majin Buu, things should get interesting in the next one. We'll be covering the end of the Buu Saga then. But for now, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and if you did, please be sure to like and subscribe to see what happens next time, and to show me you want more videos like this. But as always, tell me if you liked this part, tell me what you think will happen next, comment your requests for future videos, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, have a great day.